What is up everyone, today we're checking out my only Hundo Shadow Pokemon, Venusaur, in the Open Master League. Venusaur is quite lacking in stats, but because of its typing and the strong community they move Frenzy Plant, it does win a couple matchups. I had quite a lot of fun with this Pokemon, so we're just gonna right into these battles, starting off with a good lead for my Rhyperior, Giratina. Rhyperior functions as a good cover for Venusaur's weaknesses to dragon types like Giratina and flying types like Ho-Oh and Lugia, so seeing one of these Pokemon in the lead is of course ideal. Rhyperior is quite tanky, so I can take this first Shadow Ball. Gonna fire off the Breaking Swipe right now. Giratina does not have to shield this, because even though it is super effective, Breaking Swipe is not the strongest move attacking-wise, but it does drop the opponent's attack, which is nice, because that means I can now survive this Ominous Wind. They'd only thrown 13 Shadow Claws, which is how I knew this was only an Ominous Wind, as they need 14 for double Shadow Ball. After taking that Ominous Wind, I can go for my next Breaking Swipe, knock out the Giratina, and take Switch Advantage, which is really nice, as I can now get my Venusaur aligned to the Zacian. This is one of the targets for Venusaur, as Venusaur with its Grass and Poison typing can resist any move Zacian throws at it. So this player still does quite a bit, and that's where you can see the stat difference really coming into play. But, you know, it took it, and now I should be able to outpace this Zacian to moves. It shields up my first Frenzy Plant. It's very nice, and now I'm just going to farm up to a couple Sludge Bombs to throw at it. Shield up the next Play Rough. They try to catch the next Sludge Bomb on their Melmetal, which I do not allow. After farming up a little bit more, I go into my Zacian. This is a pretty good matchup for Zacian, even if they're running the moveset with double Iron Bash. But just ends up being a Rock Slide, so that's even better for me. I'm just gonna wait with throw my close combats until they throw the second Rock Slide, so I don't have to take one whilst my defense is debuffed. Throw my first close combat here, so either take a shield or do a ton of damage. Ends up doing a ton of damage. Gonna throw my next close combat on the CMP tie here. If they decide to shield this, that's awesome for me. Let them take me out. They do end up shielding, so I do let this Rock Slide go, because at this point Venusaur should be set up for a sweep. Venusaur throws a Frenzy Plant into the Melmetal. Is also very careful there that they wouldn't catch the Frenzy on Zacian, as that would have been a problem maybe. Yeah, throw it to the Melmetal, then have a Sludge loaded for the Zacian, and this should finish off the match. Oh, little bit of lag, but the Sludge Bomb does hit the Zacian. GG's. Oh, by the way, this Venusaur cost me like 600,000 dust to make. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, maybe subscribe. That would be greatly appreciated. Anyway, the Dialga lead. It's actually pretty bad, but I thought it was Mud Slap. So they switched into Groudon, which is amazing, because now I can bring in Venusaur. But look at how much that Fire Punch did. It's pretty insane. I can't fire off the Frenzy Plant though. And another one after I shield up this Fire Punch. Definitely want to shield this up. I want to get all shields down, because if shields are down, Smackdown Rhyperior still has play versus Dialga, as I can superpower it. Gonna go for my next Frenzy. This gets another shield. Can Venusaur get to another Frenzy Plant? It can just barely get there, but they CMP tie with the Fire Punch. I don't think I'm at 1 HP quite yet, so I'm gonna shield this Fire Punch, get to the Frenzy, and Venusaur just barely took down this Groudon. Now I can get my Zacian aligned to the Dialga, which is ideal. And then I just gotta hope there's like a flyer in the back that Rhyperior can deal with. I could have also brought in Rhyperior here, but seeing as I am running Smackdown as a better fast move with the flying types, it doesn't do too well versus Dialga still, even though I have superpower. Get to my first close combat here. Should be able to get off my second as well before they get to another Iron Head. But then my Zacian is going to be pretty much useless against whatever's in the back. Firing off the second close combat, it connects, takes out the Dialga, and in the back is Kyogre. So the game is over. GG. Groudon lead. Pretty bad for Rhyperior, so switch into Zacian, which will always be my pivot in this line. Go for the Play Rough before they even throw a move. Do some nice chip damage, bring it to the range where I might be able to superpower it later. Do I shoot up this move? I think I let it go. No, I do shield up, as Precipice Blades would of course do quite a bit. They're gonna end up catching my close combat on their Lugia. I made sure to like over farm a bit there, throw the weird time, but I still caught it, which is pretty bad for me. Turns out they are pretty weak to Zacian though, if this is their best response. So I'm just gonna throw the Play Rough now, and then try to dip out into my Rhyperior, which I do. Rhyperior should now be able to fully farm down his Lugia, unless they're running Hydro Pump. Should be fine taking any of these moves, but no one was Hydro Pump, right? Rhyperior's not common enough to really warrant dropping Aeroblast for Hydro Pump. So I safely took that Aeroblast. In comes Groudon now. Through the Breaking Swipe, I have so much energy, I was considering shielding this, but at this point, I think it's better if I just save shields for Venusaur. Don't want to go 2 shields down, because that's... doesn't matter what's in the back then. Venusaur won't be able to beat anything 2 shields down, that's for sure. Out comes Xerneas now, and it's looking good for Venusaur. I can just start spamming charge moves. I could have probably gone straight Sludge, but seeing as I was a shield down, it just felt safer to go with Frenzies. Because even if they no shield, it brings them into a range where I can probably quick attack down. Now to go for a close combat. Drop their defense, which means I can now definitely knock out with a Frenzy. And shield this move up. Should be able to outpace now to another move. This will definitely take out the Xerneas. I'll actually go for the Sludge still. That was definitely unnecessary, but I might as well. Sludge connects and takes out the Xerneas. Out comes Groudon now. Wish I would have caught that move, to be honest, to be able to finish up with Venusaur. But, you know, even if you let our Venusaur go down, Zacian still has enough energy to reach the close combat here and finish off the game. GG right there. Venusaur really putting in a lot of work versus both the Groudon and the Xerneas. Okay, Melmetal lead. Very bad for Rhyperior with Smackdown, so I switch into my Zacian. Just going to allow them to throw a move before I throw, because I don't want to get debuffed early on in the game. This is a Flash Cannon, I still survive. The Iron Bash will be fine as well. Go straight for the close combat here, knowing that I win CMP. I was kind of afraid of a catch there, to be honest, but luckily they didn't. Should still be able to survive another Rock Slide, even though my defense has been dropped. So I'm just going to let it go. Brings me deep into the red, but I do survive. Go for another close combat. Even if they shield this, I should be able to get to a third. Which I do want to get to a third here, because Melmetal was quite a problem for the rest of my team. I do get to a third. Close combat will bring Melmetal very low, but it won't quite knock out. Venusaur is not tanky at all, but I do think it can take at least some Rock Slides from Melmetal. I would rather take a Rock Slide here than a Superpower on my Rhyperior at this point, to be honest. I'm kind of expecting Double Dragon. So that's also why I went Venusaur there, as Melmetal Double Dragon is kind of a, I would say, common line if you see Melmetal. I don't think Melmetal is common at all, but if you see Melmetal, it's usually with dragons. And that also explains why they didn't switch out Melmetal from Zacian, because it would probably be a couple dragons in the back then. Anyway, it was at least one dragon, a Dialga here. So I go for the Breaking Swipe, knowing that one Superpower doesn't knock out yet. And then I go for the Superpower to take out the Dialga before they can even reach a move. And now, do I have a shield? Out comes Melmetal. They throw a Superpower. After this, I think they're 4 away. So if I can knock this out in 3 Smackdowns, I should be fine. But no, there were only 3 Thunder Shocks away from the move. And they get to the Superpower here. Maybe if there's like a Xerneas in the back, I should be fine. But no, it is Rayquaza. Still, Rayquaza's quite squishy. And this is a Shadow Sludge Bomb from Venusaur. But it does nothing, as Venusaur just lacks the stats to really do any damage. So, yeah, I get farmed down. GG. Alright, Dialga lead. I think they thought I had Mud Slap, so switch into Landorus. Going to Venusaur, as Venusaur gonna be useless in this game versus Dialga if I don't get switched, so... which is unlikely. So just let this go. Kind of just sack my Venusaur here. I think I could have shielded there. 4 Stone Edges. Pretty sure it takes 7, 6, 6 for 3 Stone Edges, which is 19 turns, and I need 17 turns for 3 Frenzies. And I think I was only 1 Vine Whip behind there, which means I would have been able to win the 2 shield scenario most likely. I think I should have gone for that. They might have been too much shots ahead though, and if there were too much shots ahead, I definitely would have lost 2 shield scenario. But anyway, I think I might still be fine at this point. But it ends up being a Ho-Oh in the back, which is terrible for Zacian. It is good for Rhyperior, of course. Terrible for Zacian. I'm gonna go for the Breaking Swipe here, hoping they think I'm gonna Superpower. And even if I Superpower straight there and they no-shield it, it doesn't do enough to knock him out anyway. So I felt this was the safer move. Just go for the Breaking Swipe. Hope they shield. That might be my only win con at that point. They didn't shield though, which is pretty bad. Now I'm gonna go for a Superpower though after shielding that Iron Head. Hoping they let it go, and I do let it go. They're expecting another Breaking Swipe. Now I do have a chance. They bring out Ho-Oh. I can get to the Breaking Swipe here before they get to a move. And my switch timer's also almost up. Can I sack my Zacian? To bring out Zacian here. It's not really a sack, but they still are basically forced to throw. They're at 100 energy. They throw the Sacred Fire, so they don't debuff themselves. Can I pace them to a move? Unfortunately, I cannot. I just lacked one smackdown, and they're able to get to the Sacred Fire, or Brave Bird even though they're debuffed by one stage. It still knocks me out. GG. You can't see the Pokemon right now because Rhyperior's in front of it, but it's a Meloetta. And this is pretty good for Rhyperior, as I am resisting the quick attacks. And Side Shock is not the strongest move, so I should be able to take 2 of them. I am, especially after I hit him with a Breaking Swipe and debuff afterwards. Meloetta is extremely tanky, so yeah, no reason for that to shield at all. That did absolutely nothing. Out comes Groudon now. We bring out Venusaur. I'm gonna no-shield this move. If he goes for a Precipice, I go down. But I wasn't expecting that. Just a Fire Punch, so Venusaur tanks it, of course. We go for the Frenzy now. Takes a shield. Gonna have to shield up his next move. I do quite want switch. Often with Meloetta, it's like Dialga in the back, or like a dragon. But it might also be something else. Anyway, I want switch, because I do want my Rhyperior on the Meloetta. And if it is Dialga, which, I mean, if for every team you don't see a Dialga in, you should expect a Dialga in the back, to be honest. So that is what I'm expecting. And then I want my Zacian on it, of course. They Side Shock me. I can take that. I go for the Breaking Swipe here. Bring the Meloetta low, and at this point, it's just all up to Zacian. Gotta hope there's something in the back that Zacian can beat. And it ends up being Xerneas, which Quick Attack Zacian is pretty good against. As one Moonblast of theirs won't knock me out, and Geomancies don't really do any fast attack damage, whereas my Quick Attacks are actually adding up and slowly bringing them into a range where a Play Rough will knock out. I go for my first one here. This takes a shield. And then I'm just going to farm up to my next. Don't throw it yet, as I do win CMP. So I'm kind of hoping they'll go for a close combat here. Because now I can just throw the move immediately, win the CMP tie, and this will now definitely secure a knockout. Bye-bye, Xerneas. Can I farm down the Meloetta though? No, they have a move. It's all up to Rhyperior to smack down. With the little HP it has, it is able to smack down. Meloetta, GG. Okay, great lead, Ho-Oh. Out comes Dialga. I have an answer for this in Zacian. This is kind of iffy though, honestly, because if you take an Iron Head, you can't win the 2 shields anymore. So I'm kind of forced to go a shield down in this matchup, which is of course not ideal, since I'm just gonna end up in the late game with a shield down with my Rhyperior and Venusaur, and depending on what's on the back, that's not necessarily great, especially if it's another dragon, like a Zekrom, like a Reshiram. Actually, Reshiram would be great for Rhyperior, but Zekrom wouldn't. If it's like Rayquaza, would be pretty good though, or Giratina even. Giratina is actually what I'm expecting, and that'd be pretty bad at this point, as with a shield up, Giratina will definitely be able to beat both Rhyperior and Venusaur. Ends up being Zekrom though, which is not the worst. But my Venusaur is just useless here. Absolutely useless. This point, I'm just going to have to use it as a sack, I think, at a later stage. We're going to shoot up that first move. I was really considering no shooting here, expecting the Fusion Bolt. I think that most closer Zekrom these days were an Outrage, and I wasn't expecting to go straight for it, so it's a lot of energy to waste on the shield. So I almost no shield that, but I did end up shooting a Fusion Bolt, unfortunately. Now I switch it to Venusaur as a sack. Just fully expecting to go down to an Outrage right here, but because I double dropped the attack, Venusaur, the absolute tank that it is, ends up surviving. And I try throwing a Frenzy into the Zekrom, but unfortunately they catch it on Ho-Oh. I had a Sludge Bomb too. I should have just thrown Sludge Bomb on the Zekrom, you know, just in case they switched. Now Rhyperior comes in. Can I survive this move? I just barely survived the Sacred Fire. Smack down the Ho-Oh. Can I get off the Breaking Swipe before the Dragon Breath? Yes, I can. And this takes out the Zekrom. Kind of lucky that Dragon Breath didn't apply before my charge move, to be honest. But we take those. GG. Okay, Kyogre lead. Really bad for Rhyperior, obviously. So I switch in Zacian. This point, I'm hoping it's the Kyogre double fairy line, to be honest. That is definitely a lineup I've seen before. That'd be pretty good for me. Ends up being Zekrom, though, which spells pretty bad news. That means it's probably the Kyogre double dragon line with Dialga in the back. And that'd be pretty rough for the rest of my squad, as shields up, Dialga is just going to take out both Rhyperior and Venusaur. Still, game is not over. Maybe Rhyperior can force something first. Dialga later. Out comes Kyogre now. I do get my Venusaur aligned to the Kyogre, which is awesome. I can easily take a Surf here. Look at that. Does way too much damage. Venusaur is just so squishy. It's so squishy. It's just a 1.5k stat product difference. Really shown here. They did shield that though. And then I bring in Dialga. And with a shield up, Rhyperior might have some players. Since they're shield down, I'm expecting they might not shield this. But they do shield that. And that's just unfortunate. If I had baited there, we've actually been in a good spot. But now my next superpower definitely won't knock out the Dialga. Still, it might put it low enough to where I can maybe Frenzy it and then the Dialga. But can Venusaur survive the fast moves? Rhyperior can't, that's for sure. Gets farmed down by the Dialga. Can I reach a Frenzy Plant here? I can't before they reach the Iron Head, at least. Shoot this up. Go for the Frenzy. But yeah, they even switch out. I can't even take out the Dialga with the with the Venusaur as they do switch out into the Kyogre. Oh, we got a little bit of lag here because of the recorder. But yeah, actually, I think my internet dropped there, and the Frenzy just didn't do the amount of damage it should. But that's fine, I would have lost anyway. Venusaur didn't have enough HP there, sadly, to hit 2 Frenzies. One against the Dialga, one against the Kyogre. Anyway, next game, Solgaleo lead. Very bad, this thing beats my whole team. I'm going to shield up the first Iron Head, go for the Breaking Swipe, knowing this definitely won't be shielded. But at least this allows me to take more charge moves from the Solgaleo. Now I'm just going to wait until they throw another charge move, take it, and then I'm going to throw the superpower afterwards. This should put him into range where I can later farm down with one of my other Pokemon. Go for the superpower. It's only neutral, but it does do a decent chunk of damage. But not enough, really. Solgaleo is so tanky. And they even outpace to another Iron Head before I get to the next Breaking Swipe. But it ends up being Psychic Fangs. Might have actually not been enough for Iron Head. Maybe there were one before. Anyway, I do get off this Breaking Swipe. They let it go, which is amazing. Now I can quick attack down with Zacian. So I switch it in, since I'm gonna likely... Actually, I could have got one switch there, I guess. But I just wanted energy on Zacian, so I switch it in. And they also switched out into Dialga, which is just amazing. At this point, I'm really hoping there's something weak to Venusaur in the back. I mean, they already have 2 Venusaur strong Pokemon, right? They have to have a Venusaur weak Pokemon in the back. At least that's what I'm hoping. But it's not what I'm expecting. With Solgaleo lead, the line I have seen most often is Double Dragon. Like Rayquaza in the lead. In the back, I mean. So I kind of really need to save Zacian here. But because I got into this matchup, I shield down, I don't think it's going to be possible. They reach another Iron Head here. My Zacian will be taken out. I only have one Winkon here, and that's farming down this Dialga with Venusaur and hoping I get enough energy to be able to get to double Sludge Bomb versus whatever's in the back. Rayquaza is what I'm expecting, or Dragonite. Then I really need double Sludge Bomb takeout. It does end up being Rayquaza. I don't have enough energy though, but if I can make a catch here, I might be able to get to a second Sludge. They're at 4 Dragon Tails now. I try to catch, but my opponent very smartly holds off on throwing the energy and is able to get to a Breaking Swipe versus my Venusaur here to knock it out. GG. Unfortunately, that's the final battle of the video. As you could see, Venusaur is really just way too squishy to perform in the Master League. But it is very fun to use, especially to kind of wall those annoying fairy types like Xerneas and Zacian. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. Good luck with your battles, trainers.